Okay, so let's talk about a place you might think you know, Genesee County, New York. But we're not just looking at the surface, at what's there today. We're going to dig way deeper into a mystery that started 12,000 years ago.
You know, it's one of those questions we just don't really think about, right? We walk around our towns, drive down familiar roads, but what if there's a whole different world, a completely lost history, just inches under our feet?
Because that's exactly what's going on there. We're not talking about some minor historical detail. Nope, we're talking about a massive, largely unknown chapter of human history that kicked off right at the end of the last ice age.
All right, so let's start our investigation by looking right under the surface of the everyday landscape.
See, most people know Genesee County for its agriculture, its pioneering history, but that's just the top layer. The real story, the real mystery, is this incredible saga of ancient cultures, of complex societies that we're only now beginning to piece together, one tiny fragment at a time.
So where do you even start with a case this cold? Well, you have to go all the way back to a time when the world looked totally, completely different. We're talking 12,000 years ago. I mean, just let that sink in. The massive glaciers had just retreated, and this whole new landscape was emerging, along with the very first people to ever set foot there.
And our first big break in the case comes from this one specific spot, the Charles Hiscock farm site. You can almost think of it as the first crime scene, except the only thing that was stolen was our knowledge of the past.
Now, this is where it gets really cool. Archaeologists found two key pieces of evidence. First, they uncovered these, just beautifully made razor-sharp spear points. Then, in some wetlands nearby, they found the bones of mastodons. You put those two clues together, and boom, a whole world just springs to life, a land of giant beasts and the incredibly skilled hunters who tracked them.
So who were these people? We called them the Paleo-Indians. And finding their tools right there with mastodon bones, that tells us something huge. You don't just hunt an animal that big by chance. It takes smarts, it takes teamwork, it takes planning. These aren't just pointy rocks. They're proof of brilliant minds and organized societies thriving in a brand new world. But the story doesn't end with the Paleo-Indians, not by a long shot. Fast forward a few thousand years, the world keeps changing and a new, even more puzzling clue shows up, left behind by the cultures that came next. Suddenly, all across the landscape, especially in places like Oakfield, you start to see these massive, intricate patterns built right into the earth. We're talking huge mounds, circular embankments, literally sculpted from the land itself.
And these weren't just random piles of dirt. No way. These were monumental projects, carefully planned and constructed. They're like these little windows offering us these tantalizing glimpses into the spiritual and social lives of the people who built them.
But here's the riddle, the one that archaeologists still debate today. What were they for? Were they sacred places for ceremonies? Were they giant forts for defense? Or maybe, and this is a cool one, were they giant observatories, perfectly aligned with the sun and stars? The truth is, we're still trying to figure it out. It's a genuine, unsolved mystery.
So you have all these scattered clues and ancient riddles. How do you even begin to solve a 12,000-year-old mystery? Well, you call in the modern-day detectives of the ancient world.
This whole investigation, it really rests on the shoulders of archaeologists, and their job is, frankly, incredibly hard. They have to rebuild entire worlds, entire belief systems, from the few little fragments that managed to survive thousands of years.
Their process is basically a three-step investigation. It all starts with the survey, where they use amazing tech to see underground without even digging. Then comes the really painstaking part, the excavation, where they slowly, carefully uncover artifacts. And finally, you have the analysis, where they take every little piece back to the lab to connect the dots and tell a story that spans millennia.
And the tools they have today are just incredible. Carbon dating can tell you almost the exact age of something. Geophysical surveys can basically X-ray the ground to find buried walls and structures. They can even use DNA analysis now. It's like science is slowly cracking these ancient cold cases wide open.
So why does all this matter? Why put in all this effort to dig up tiny little bits and pieces from a world that disappeared thousands of years ago?
Because this whole investigation, it does so much more than solve a historical puzzle. It proves that the ground beneath our feet has a memory, and reminds us that our own story is just the latest chapter written on a landscape that seems so much more. We're connected to every single person who lived here before us.
And there's this quote from the research that just says it all perfectly. The work is slow, it's meticulous, but every tiny discovery is like a single word. And if you find enough words, they start to form sentences. And those sentences begin to tell this epic story that was almost lost forever.
And when you think about it, the story of Genesee County isn't just about one place. It could be about anywhere. And it leaves you with this really powerful question. No matter where you are right now, what ancient mysteries, what forgotten stories are just waiting to be discovered right under your feet?